Is this everyone? I think so. Are the doors closed? Okay, well that's fine. There are people leaving or they're coming in front. Yes.
Great.
That's always good. The brave people. Welcome, sir. It's the best spot, actually.
It's kind of like a business class in a theater.
Yes. Good. Thank you. All right, so good evening, everyone. And a very warm welcome to you all into this lovely little theater here. Welcome to In Search of Democracy 3.0. It's a special night, actually.
Yes.
For two reasons. Of course, tomorrow, the whole democratic circus in the United States of America will begin. That will be very exciting to watch. And whatever happens, it will be, again, one of the most important elections of our time, right? So that's very exciting. And the second reason is more personal. This might be the second last performance that we do before lockdown. So, yes, here we go again, people. What I just wanted to say is that I'm very grateful that you are here with us tonight, in person, in real life, that you were brave enough to come. And of course, also a warm welcome to everyone that is watching us from their homes. I hope you're all fine and that you're warm and in your PJs. That's good. So it's good that you're here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Isel Vos. I'm a theater maker and an actress. And, well, about 2 years ago, I got a call from IN SITU, which is an international arts organization. And they asked me if I wanted to do a European project about democracy. And I was like, excuse me? Well, big question about a European project about democracy, where to start, right? And then I thought, well, if I'm allowed to just search and not have all the answers yet, then it might be damn interesting to do. So I called them back and I said, yes, let's do it, but I have one condition, and it's an important one. Only if I can do it with amazing, fantastic people. Well, look, here they are.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Applause for the amazing people standing next to me. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Niels. I'm from Leiden, but now I live already for half of my life in Amsterdam. About 1.5 years ago, I got a new title, the title of father, so that's very nice. That's why I look a bit tired also. But about democracy, my mother used to tell me, if you can vote, vote. That's a right, that's a privilege, so if you can vote, vote. So every time I can vote, I do it. But for me, for a long time, that was democracy, voting. But now lately, the last couple of years, I hear a lot, democracy is in danger and it's all very dangerous now. Dangerous times. So I was very interested in what does it really entail, this democracy. And when I got the call, like, do you want to join our research? I was very interested. And it turns out that democracy is a lot bigger and more interesting than I ever thought. And I'm very happy that I can share it tonight with you. And I made the music for tonight.
The very cool music that you just heard coming in. So that's Niels. And then on my right,
I am Aukje, and I live in The Hague, which is, as you probably know, the main political city of Holland. But even though I live in, let's say, the heart of the democracy, for me it also was pretty vague what happens behind closed doors at our Binnenhof. So when I joined this project, I was really excited to get to know more about democracy. And tonight I'm especially curious about your democratic thoughts. So I actually would really like to start right now.
That's good. So now you know a little bit about us, and of course we really want to know who you are, but you are with a few too many. Not that many, but it's a good one for this evening. So my suggestion is that if you are here not on the live stream. If you are here, take a moment to talk to someone that is next to you, in front of you, behind you, preferably someone you don't know yet, and just talk quickly about what are your expectations for tonight, what are your thoughts or worries or questions about the topic. If you're watching us from home, you might have someone to have this conversation with next to you. If not, please just have some thoughts yourself about the topic, and we will be back with you very soon. Go ahead.
Ja, ik denk die jongens bovenin, die hebben wel een animated conversation. Zit z'n tweeën. Ze kunnen ook lachen om democratie, dat is ook belangrijk.
Oh, die twee.
Ja, helemaal boven. Die bijna in het donker zitten, bij de beamer. Wie ga jij grijpen? Ik vind die meisjes hier ook leuk.
Yes, and time is up. Time is up. Wrap it up. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see. So you two guys in the back, at the back, you had a very animated conversation. Yes, you, with your partner.
Hiding in the dark. So what we have to mention is that we are going to repeat what you say, because otherwise the people on the live stream don't know what we're talking about, okay? So that might be annoying a little bit, but just let it happen, okay?
Anyway,
so
I want to know what you discussed, democracy-wise, of course.
My friend here is from Thailand. We're talking about how democratic Thailand is compared to the Netherlands.
Okay, so they were talking about how democratic Thailand is compared to the Netherlands, and what was the end result of this?
So basically, Thailand is they have a really strong leader.
Yes.
Who controls everything. So not that democratic compared to us, where we can do whatever we want.
So they were talking about that Thailand has such a strong leader that it's not that democratic, at least not compared to the Netherlands.
yeah.
Great.
Interesting.
Great start.
Yeah, that's good.
And here you were talking with the man in the side. What did you find out about democracy from him?
We talked about the reasons why we went to this event.
The reasons why you went to this event. And what did he say?
Because he is a fan of Lucas de Man.
He is a fan of Lucas de Man.
He's a fan of Lucas the Man. Yeah, we know a couple
isn't
of
here.
those. He's not here, by the way. He's not hidden somewhere. It's just us. So. And what
anything else? Or you just talked about Lucas? Which is
That
fine.
happens a lot. It's fine.
About the art program he made.
What art program did you make, sir?
I'm a theater, I'm a drama teacher.
You're a drama teacher.
Yes.
And where do you teach?
At the Stichting Kunstzicht Performing Rotterdam.
Okay, so I can translate that, but it's very interesting what this gentleman does. Okay, that's interesting. And are you making a program about democracy, or?
No, I was just interested in.
Okay, good. So, yeah, that's good that it happens now. So, is anyone else have their phone on? Turn it off, please. It's that kind of performance where we have our phones off. It's crazy, I know, in this
Old
time.
school.
Old school. Is there anyone else that really likes to share what they were talking about? Like, please ask me, because I had a very animated conversation. I saw something happening here between these ladies. You did. This lady here already saw the performance. Twice.
Twice already.
You're a real fan.
Oh my God. Are you a fan, or are you, what's happening here?
That's
You
okay.
can. You're sitting down.
Yeah, it's a story time because I went twice to your performance earlier
Yeah.
by Oerol and at Theater aan Zee.
She saw it twice. Yeah.
And it was so bright. Every time the fires was like heating up.
Yeah.
Then I just went to work again. So
So you were like inspired every time you saw it. Yeah. Okay, so it's like an addiction now. So you need us. So you
need a
us.
bit of democracy.
Yeah.
this time I took people with me in order
Good.
to have the sparkling going on. So
Yeah. So she took.
this time will be as good as the.
No
We
pressure,
hope
no
so too.
pressure.
We hope so
Yes,
too.
okay.
Yes.
So she took two colleagues or friends, students with her to maybe have that fire burning a little longer than the last 2 times. Okay, I hope so too. That would be good. Is there anyone else? Like, oh my God, I heard something. This guy, you need to know that. No one? Really? Okay. Yeah. Yes.
My neighbor here said, I think it's quite important. We both came here to in hope of new perspective, but also what he says is he wants to validate his positive conception of democracy. Like not it's the less of two evils, but it's a good thing that we have it and we should be careful with it.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. That sounded good. So you had a conversation where you both were very open and interesting about what democracy actually is, and hopefully be inspired in a positive way, right? Instead of like
That it's a lesser evil.
crying ourselves to sleep every night because it's what? The failure of democracy? What is it then? Oof.
I think it goes a little bit more deep than just the failure of democracy as a failure of society itself. But let's start with democracy.
Okay, so first up, failure of democracy, and second, failure of society as a whole, right? All right, well, we have some work to do. then.
Yes. Gonna be a long night.
Okay, thank you very much. Good. Well, just to make something clear, you probably saw something on the website or you got an email getting an invitation, and it said that this was a live research performance. So you were probably like, what is that? Well, it's actually pretty easy. We are here live with you and live through the live stream with you at home. And we are performers and we are searching. So we are really searching for the next step or steps of democracy. And that is what we're going to do tonight. We are going to search together.
And I want to start off with showing you a study. Because researchers asked people how important it is to live in a democracy. Below, you see the years of birth. And as you can see, all lines show a downward trend. In other words, the younger people are, the less important they think it is to live in a democracy.
Yeah.
And for us, Dutchies, very striking was that Sweden, at its lowest point of engagement, is still higher than the Netherlands at its highest.
Yes, and in another study, they asked people, do you want a strong leader that puts things right? And this is what came out of that. In the Netherlands, almost 70% want a strong leader. In the UK, almost 80%. And actually, only in Germany, they sort of remember the history.
Yeah, well, with a little side note, not to bump your positivity, but when
Sorry,
they
I
asked
tried.
the young people in Germany, 1 out of 3 wanted a strong leader. So they don't really remember their
Yes,
history that
especially
long,
in
right?
Eastern Germany.
Yeah.
Well,
Eastern
anyway, we were quite, let's say, surprised by these figures.
Yeah, or perhaps even worried.
Yeah, well, we're not sure what to think just yet. But in any
Okay.
case, it shows that democracy is no longer the obvious choice. And it's not, per definition, eternal. So it's kind of like a relationship, I would say. You have to invest in it, you have to work for it, or otherwise it can be gone, over.
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah, or you break up, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
mean-
the way you. That's the way she would do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's over, right?
Yeah,
Please break up. I remember one of your ex-boyfriends.
Okay,
I was
this is a
like,
bit-
please, let it be over.
Okay, so that's
you know?
how Isel does
Thank
it.
God,
Anyway,
God,
if the love is still there, if the love is still there,
Yeah, okay,
then
that's true.
you have to invest in it, right?
Yeah.
And that's funny because researchers showed us that people hold great love for the democratic values, but have little trust in how it's implemented right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm wondering how that is here. So a quick question. Who of you, just forgetting for a little bit how it's being implemented right now, right? But who of you is pro-democracy?
With a
By
show of hands. The people at home also, please show your hands. Yes.
So that's almost
actually
everyone.
everybody.
It's actually,
almost
we
everyone.
have some.
Yeah, also.
some
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and hopefully also at home. But so the problem isn't that there's no love anymore. The problem is that the relationship is not functioning properly. So we need to work harder. We need to reinvent ourselves. We need to get to the next step. Well, actually, you could say it's kind of like relationship therapy for democracy.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
one.
nice,
But
huh?
the question, of course, then is, how do we do that? And who will be the therapist and who will be like the patient?
Yeah, but
right?
also-
and is it old people
Or
is it,
younger people?
just the younger people?
Or you could
is it
ask
just
minorities this time, or
women,
different
or,
countries, maybe,
know,
or you could do it
and
globally.
when-
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
when
we
are-
had a lot of questions. So we decided, let's go search. Let's go research. And this is our project. And this is our team. As you can see, we are not here, all of us here right now. That's not just due to COVID. That's also because we work in different fields at the same time. Emma, for example, she makes short documentaries about people who are busy with updating and upgrading the democracy. She has now finished 3 short documentaries, one in Ireland, one in Iceland, one in Belgium and one in Holland, and you can see them for free on our website. Jasper is also in our team. He is a sociologist and he talked to a lot of scientists about democracy, and that you can also read on our website.
Yes, and then there's us, and we are here with you because a real democratic research you do with as many people as possible.
As
right?
many different people as possible.
Yeah, that's true. So we're not only performing this here for you, for students. No, we also go to theaters, to community centers. We play for politicians, both federal and local, etc., etc. And we play in as many different countries in Europe as possible.
Yes,
right?
yes. This project should take about 3 years, probably going to take a bit longer. But in these 3 years, we travel the whole of Europe, and we go every time we go in a conversation with our audience. We've now been to Belgium, France. We should have gone to Norway, that was postponed.
England
to
also
England,
postponed.
Poland, Turkey. So it's not just here in Holland. We really try to see the whole of Europe. And every time, like I said, we have a conversation with our audience. And the reactions we get, we process that, and the results of our research we're going to present to everybody who is busy with democracy. So politicians, journalists, and hopefully also with you.
Yes. So please write it down in your agendas. If you're still in school in 2 years' time, please come back. We will be here, right here, at the same location, right? Yes, yes. Now we are.
Yes.
And we will show you the results, okay? But to have results, we have to start, right? So my suggestion is we start at the beginning. Because that's logical, right? If we want to talk about the future, we have to know where we came from. So, just to check the level here, you're not allowed to participate because you know every answer. Okay, so she's not participating, good. But you are. To check the level, the history of democracy. Here we go. Who of you knows where democracy originated? Yes. Greece, good. And more specific, where in Greece? Athens, good. So in Athens, here we are. And then the next question, is there anyone who knows when exactly democracy started? Yes, there in the back. 300 before Christ? Off by, say, 200 years? But not bad, not bad. Someone else? No one knows exactly? Okay, I'll give you the answer. 508 BC. That's the exact date when democracy started. So it's a present to you all. When you have your next COVID illegal party and someone says, what do you know about democracy? Then you can say, well, let me tell you, it all started in 508 BC, and yes, in Athens. Okay, good. Here we are. The reason that we know this date exactly is because this punker avant la lettre you see here behind me, Pericles, used the word democracy for the first time in a funeral speech at 508 BC. Well, he didn't actually use the word democracy because that's an English word. He said demos kratos, and that means demos means people and kratos means power. So he said the power should be with the people. And that was an amazing moment. Everyone was totally silent in the square agora. And usually everyone is silent anyway at a funeral speech, but now it was even more. It was deadly silence, crazy, deadly. So anyway, it was a revolution because all of a sudden Athens had a system where everyone could participate and...
Well, everyone, it's not really everyone, right?
Everyone?
Not really everyone.
Did I say that?
Yes,
Yeah, well,
everyone.
not everyone, of course. I mean, women and children and foreigners and slaves were not allowed to participate, of course, but everyone else...
So who is everyone else then?
What?
Who's the rest?
Are you doing
Yeah.
this on purpose?
Yes, say the
You
word.
really want me to say it?
Yes.
Okay,
say it.
well, okay, good. Well, all the older, educated white men could participate.
Yes.
Here we
Yes.
go. Here we are. Good. Yeah.
Lot
But
has changed.
anyway, it was a revolution at that time. Okay. And a lot of the enemies of the Athens, for example, Sparta, they were looking at what was happening there in Athens, and they were like, "Oh my God, are you crazy? Are you really giving power to the people? It's going to be anarchy. It's going to be chaos. It's crazy." And it's actually interesting, right? Because they were so much against it, the elite of the Spartans started writing books about it. Books, hundred of books, full of what was happening in Athens. And that is why we know so much about it right now, because of what they wrote down about the system. Good. So the citizens of Athens hold on to their brand new, beautiful system for about 120 years. Because at that time, so many wars broke out that all the citizens said, you know what, stop. Let's stop this. We need a couple of very strong leaders to get us through all the mess, right? So that was the end of democracy 1.0. And now, we are now, right? Searching for the next step, searching for democracy 3.0. And in this time, and it was 2,500 years, you can imagine a lot has happened in between, right? And to give you a little insight in what actually happened in all those years, here is the most tired actor that we know today.
Thanks.
But also the best actor and the best history teacher. Here he is, Niels.
Thank you. No, please stop. Stop. Thank you. That's very generous of you. Thank you. So, yes. So it started in Greece. They had it for about 100 years, and then they lost it again. And of course, after the Greeks, we got the Romans. Very good. Yes. So we got the Romans.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't cheat.
Cheat sheet.
Cheat.
Damn it. So we got the Romans, and whether the Romans were really democratic, that's up for debate, because they had, of course, emperors, and they were a lot of the times dictators. But they were looking at how can we share the power, how can we give the people a voice. So they had a senate and public tribunes. But these representatives, their power was not set in stone. If the emperor didn't like what they were saying anymore, he would take their power away again. Then we get the rise of the, well, the modern religions. And for us, that's mostly the Catholic Church, of course. I don't know how familiar you are with the Catholic Church, but the Catholic Church is not very democratic. No, it's kind of a top-down organization the Pope is running. But still, you see, throughout history, democracy rears its head, and also in the Middle Ages, the cities become bigger, and there are rich merchants traveling through these enlarged cities, and they demand a say in the power. And sometimes they get it, but a bit like with the Romans, if the kings and queens don't like what they are saying anymore, then they would strip them again of their power. And then we get the rise of humanism. Yes, in the 16th century, the intellectual elite also starts to demand a say in the power, not just for themselves, but for everybody. Maybe you've heard of this guy, Erasmus. Some things were named after him. He and Machiavelli were really writing a lot about giving power to the people.
Yeah, can I just...
Sure.
Yeah, just one thing about Machiavelli. What was interesting when we were doing our research, we found out that this guy, Machiavelli, was actually a democratic pioneer. I didn't know that. Maybe one of you knew that because you're way smarter than me. But no, well, I only knew the guy because of his famous quote. You know which one I'm talking about? You can participate. You know everything. No one? The end justifies the means. Yeah, you know it. Speak. It's good. The end justifies the means. He didn't say that. He never said that. You knew that? No. It's crazy. Anyway, what he did write in his second book was that if the elite is not controlled by the people, they will never ever act in the interests of the people. So 500 years ago, Machiavelli already stated that the people should have power.
Exactly. So, the thinking about it was started. And what do you get? The Enlightenment. The human becomes more and more the center of the universe, and this human becomes to, well, he starts to think more, starts to want more, and starts to demand, and demands a say in the power. And then we get the American independence, the Declaration of Independence, very important piece of paper. And also the French Revolution. The bourgeoisie, for the first time, has to share their power with the common folk, with everybody.
Well, Niels, really? Everybody?
No, not
everybody.
everybody,
Not
not with
everybody.
children, slaves, foreigners, and women. Women do get a vote later, but I will come to that in about 42 seconds. First, we have the Industrial Revolution. And during the Industrial Revolution, you see these cities growing even more and more because people are going to the cities to work in the factories. And to keep these people a bit calm and participating, they get a voice, they get a say in the power. Ironic, right? To keep them calm, they get a say. And then, after the Industrial Revolution, also women start to vote. I think it was a bit less than 42 seconds. I think 39. But okay. So something like women's right to vote, that of course doesn't happen globally at the same time. You cannot participate. Does anybody know which country was the first one to have women's voting right? Yes? No. No. Okay, you can participate.
Yeah.
Yes! And do you know when? 93.
Not bad.
Very nice, very
Points,
nice.
extra
Do you also
points.
know the first country in Europe?
I know that Switzerland was the last country.
Yes, that's true.
Spoiler.
Yes.
No, it's fine.
Does anybody else know the first European country to have it? No.
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 Wish it was true.
No, it was Finland in 1906. No, the Netherlands was about 100 years ago, 101 to be exact, since 1919. That is, of course, something to be proud of, but it was after Lithuania, Germany, Canada, Russia, Azerbaijan, so not super nice. But we weren't the latest, that's true. Switzerland was later. But that we have now women's voting right in Europe doesn't mean that the whole of Europe is democratic. In the beginning of the 20th century, it really goes pretty bad with the rise of democracy in Europe, and that is, in the first hand, because of Italy and Germany and other fascist states, but also after the two world wars, then it's mostly communism. But even after 1989, the fall of the Berlin Wall, actually far into the 90s, people are still fighting for freedom and democracy in Europe. Think of Yugoslavia, for example. But now, for at least 20 years, we can say that Europe is officially democratic. That's nice. I say officially because how democratic is a country like Hungary at the moment or Poland at the moment? We found out in our research that it is not so clear when a country is a democracy and when it's not. There's a big gray area in the middle. That's also why we don't know exactly how many democracies are there, because there's not a consensus on what is actually a democracy. That's quite interesting. What we do know is that there are only 5 countries in the world that openly call themselves not democratic. Only 5. That's Brunei, Qatar, Swaziland, Saudi Arabia, and Vatican City.
Yeah.
Yes, the Pope still says, no, democracy, not here. But all the rest of the countries calls themselves democratic. North Korea calls themselves democratic. China still calls themselves democratic. Russia, Holland, we all call ourselves democratic.
Yeah, okay, so, but what really struck me about this whole story is just something to think about, guys, that the European Union has been democratic for 20 years now. 20. I mean, I'm older than the democratic freedom in Europe. Can you imagine that? Please, think about it.
Well, thank you, Isel and Niels, for this version of our history.
Very welcome.
Let's say a version of our history. Because we have been lying to you about one very important fact. Western democracy didn't originate in Greece. Nope. And even though that's a fact, we have all been taught so in schools. Right, Isel?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Athens,
Right, Niels?
Athens.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys probably as well. Well, the Greeks did invent the word democracy, but it wasn't like, so first there was chaos, and then there was an old, highly educated man sitting next to an apple tree, then an apple fell on his head, and then he was like, Eureka, let's do democracy. Let's spread this idea of civilization all around the world, like a Greek export product. Nope. Nope. The Greeks got their ideas from the Phoenicians. And who knows where Phoenicia was located back then?
Phoenicia?
Anybody?
Guess. Do a guess.
Everywhere.
Okay.
No.
It was the current Lebanon. Yes, and the Phoenicians already 1500 before Christ had popular meetings, citizen councils, and separation of powers. And via trade routes, these ideas ended up in Greece.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it is actually even older. It did not originate in Phoenicia as well.
No, that's true, because the Phoenicians took their inspiration from the Mesopotamians. And who knows where Mesopotamia was located? Yes, it was Iraq, Syria, indeed. And especially in the Syrian part of Mesopotamia, that is where the real democratic magic happened. Because 3000 before Christ, they already had 3 principles that we still base our Western civilization on.
1.
Yes, personal freedom and equality of all citizens.
2.
Legal framework and legal texts. The Hammurabi Code is one of the oldest legal texts in the world.
And 3.
the principle of voting. And how did they vote? Well, if decisions needed to be made, a group of men came together in a circle. Yes, here the men as well, I know, but hear me
Okay.
out. Hear me out. So a group of men came together in a circle, and few of them were allowed to speak. And if you'd agree with the speaker, then you would kneel down next to him, and that was right, Niels, the way to vote. But if the man couldn't come to a decision, and that happened a lot, then the youngsters and women were allowed to vote too.
The Mesopotamians believed that the ear and not the brain is the root of intelligence. So, in their eyes, it was very important to really listen to each other.
So imagine, we were doing all this research and we found out two very important things. One, we've been lied to in school. Yeah? Okay? And second, and this is more important than anything, our Western democracy originated in Syria. Syria, people, the land where we're bombing democracy right now. I mean, that's at the least historically ironic,
Yeah,
right?
actually, the whole idea that democracy is something Western turns out to be bogus. We found in our research that actually through the whole history of the human race, throughout the whole of Europe, or the whole of the world, there are democratic principles. If you look at this map, already in the ancient China Empire, in India, in Africa, the Métis in Canada, the Aztecs, they already had democratic principles. And understand me correctly, it doesn't mean that they had democracies as we know them now, but they were busy with how can we share our power.
Yeah, and the earliest example that we found was in Australia with the native community, the Atsi, as we call them. And well, if I would have to hang that on my timeline, it would be somewhere at Central Station. But we can't do that, so I will be hanging it here.
Well, and that was a very beautiful and strong form of democracy because they were always looking for consensus. So it wasn't like the majority decides. No, they kept talking, they kept looking, they kept searching for this ultimate consensus. And emotional arguments also counted. And next to that, they gave a voice to everyone and everything that had anything to do with the outcome. So for instance, if needed, someone would represent the trees, or someone would speak up for the water, or someone would give a voice to the birds, or, well, etc., etc. They knew they were part of a larger whole and that they had to take care of it.
That's beautiful, right? It's so beautiful. And what this all shows is that democracy is actually as old as humanity itself, right? So throughout time, you can see that people are searching how to live together, how to divide power. We've seen a lot of different forms and structures of democracy. People have gained power, have lost it again. It's like this wave through time democracy. And as I mentioned before, our current form of democracy actually quite young. So we can lose it at any moment again,
yes,
right?
it is a thin line, and it could change rapidly indeed. So therefore, it's important to ask ourselves the questions, what do we like about our current democracy? What are values that we would like to keep? Or, a better question, what kind of democracy do we want? And we are going to discuss that right now, tonight, with you.
Ready? Okay.
Yes. We do that everywhere we go. We write down our results and we take that with us in our journey.
Yeah, come closer, Aukje. So Aukje will be here at the laptop. Niels and I will be here helping you out. So what we're going to do is in a moment, you can call out whatever you think are essential elements for the democracy that you want. Yeah, so the essential elements. And the way we're going to do that is by a show of hands, and we'll give you time to call out whatever you think is important. And to keep this all a bit manageable, it's time finally to use the cards that you've been given or were on your chair. So get them out. It's really simple. If you hear a statement, you will be able to take a vote. And you vote either you agree with the statement, you use your green card. You disagree with the statement, you use your red card. Or if you have no clue what the hell we're talking about, you use your blue card. Or you just don't want to vote, that's okay too. So what else do I need to tell? How many time do we have?
It's about 10 minutes.
10 minutes time, okay?
Yes.
So we will be repeating again whatever you say so the people watching from home can hear everything. Are we ready? Let's go.
Yes.
Who wants to go first? What essential elements do we need in our democracy? A real democracy. No one? Yes. All at once. First in the back. Sir. Random selection of representation. What do you mean by random?
Instead of voting for your representatives, randomly select a part of the population and let them represent themselves. So then you every year change, like people represent themselves.
Yeah.
Then you get rid of all the party systems and all the party politics which come with that.
Okay, so no more parties, just people, and these people rotate every year.
Yes.
Do I understand that correctly? So, how do we write this down?
I have wrote it down as random selection of representation. Is that kind of what? Yeah. Good enough. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah?
so we vote. Who
We vote.
thinks that's essential to our democracy says green.
No
If you
more
say
parties,
no,
just people.
it's red. And if you say what?
What?
Blue. It's a lot of red.
There's a lot of red. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do we say? Like 35%.
35%.
Yes.
Okay, next
very
one.
good.
What's essential? Yes, in the corner.
Sir.
Some sort of regional boundary.
A regional boundary, like a country.
Well, might be a country, might be a city, might be a region. But we need some sort of,
Border.
group of people.
We need to
Oh.
define.
Specify.
We need to specify groups of people through geometry.
That will together do the democracy.
And that's based on where you live or where you.
Could
Yeah,
be.
yeah, it's your
democracy.
it's your democracy.
You can decide. Do you want it to be a country?
Because you care about where you live.
Okay, so we need regional borders based on where you live. Can be cities or countries, but we need some rules or some agreement on where those borders are.
Do
you agree?
or
Green,
not?
red, blue.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Right.
That is about 70%.
Yeah, 70%. Not bad.
Who else?
Who else? Here in the front.
Knowledge about what you're voting for. There are a lot of teenagers. They can't vote, and people high in office, they vote about them. They don't know, and I think they could have input as long as they know what you're talking about.
So knowledge about what you're voting about. So informed voting. Is that what it is?
To be
No.
honest, I don't know how to put it.
Okay. So, and you specified that it's the young people that need to be more informed?
But actually, if you put it
Or
like that,
everyone?
you can count it for everybody, because there are a lot of people who don't know what they're voting for.
So there needs to be information about what they are voting for. And who shares this information? Who provides the information?
Independent sources.
Independent sources. Okay. So there needs to be enough information by independent sources so people can vote informed, if I can say it like that.
Okay.
Okay. Who
Informed
agrees?
voting. Who
Disagrees?
agrees?
Doesn't know what information is.
Could happen. Red. Oh, not bad. 85? 85%? Good.
85. Next, I
Perfect.
saw some
Next.
hands over there. Yes.
I think that politicians should have systematic thinking. So don't think about a problem isolated, but think about the entire system that comes behind the problem.
So
There needs to be systematic
Thinking.
thinking by the representatives, so not just an isolated problem, but look at the whole system around the
so and
problem.
is this about the people that are in power? Everyone.
When you're building a puzzle, you need to see the bigger picture to then put the pieces together, not just look at one piece by itself and try to guess where it goes. We need to look at the bigger picture and look at everything that affects, not just direct, but indirect parts.
And is that something you would put in the law, like they have to think of the bigger picture, or is that something we
it a
as
value?
a society should have as a mindset?
Honestly, according to how society is at the moment, if you don't put it on a piece of paper and say that everyone should do it, they will not do it. So, according to what we have now, it should be embedded on the processes, the bureaucracy.
Okay,
Okay, so we need laws right now.
we needed to put it on paper, or people won't.
Won't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, voting, please. Who is for looking
Okay,
at the
put
bigger
bit higher,
picture?
bit higher. I don't see.
Looking at the bigger picture.
Oh, it's
You-
like 1/3 green,
Well,
1/3
yeah,
blue, one
yeah.
third red. Well, a bit less
We'll
red.
come back to that.
Like
That's
40%
good.
green.
40%. Good.
Yes, in the
perfect.
back.
A new question, right?
Yeah.
Representations of things that are non-human. So also think about our ecology, like ecology, nature, animals.
Non-human representation in our parliament.
It can be by humans, but at least representation of those non-humans.
Yeah.
Representation of non-humans by humans.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Voting, please. Yes.
Green, blue.
red. Everyone has to vote, otherwise the democracy doesn't work, lady in the back. You can use your
That's
blue
like-
card.
85%.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone else? Yes, here.
Yes.
Some kind of leader.
We need some
Elected
kind of
or
leader.
just somebody who stands up? An elected leader. But it doesn't matter how we get to how we elect it. Okay.
And what?
So-
Sorry, what kind of power does this person have? A leader to give us
A
direction.
single leader.
One single leader. Yeah, does it have to be one? Okay, so it could be more.
Yeah, like a group of people, a group of leaders that kind of take all those things that people say into account and then, I don't know, make some kind of,
And give direction. And how large could this group be?
I think not too large.
Not too large. 10 people max? 10 people max.
10 people max.
So we need a strong leader group to give us direction. Good, you're gonna have an interesting night tonight.
So, vote.
Okay, good.
Also here in the front.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's
Yeah.
like
Okay, so about 20%. Good. Next. Who's next? Sorry. Yeah. You.
Yeah, I'd say transborder collaboration for democracy. So if it's only local, it doesn't work.
Transborder collaboration.
Same with like EU, but not only EU, like other things. You know, if you are a democratic island and every other island around you is not, then you might not survive. So there should be more.
More collaboration
nice.
beyond borders. So not a democratic island. Not we have it all figured out here, but we're not listening to what else is going on, right? Okay. So do you have that?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Well-
Ready to vote? Everyone has to vote, otherwise it doesn't work. Yes, good.
Yes.
You, sir. Are you voting? Oh, that's good. Okay, perfect.
question still on what you just said. Does that mean that if the countries surrounding you or that are not democratic, should we bring our democracy there then?
Not immediately, but we should. Well, it's more like, you know, people, if they want to congregate and do something together, they should be able to do that. So you don't force somebody to do it, but if they have the desire to do so, they should have the capacity. Okay.
You should have the ability to collaborate beyond borders. Okay.
We have 1.5 minutes left for the last.
So we need principles?
Yes, like for example, I don't know, everyone, like
Yes, I wrote it down as principles for decision making. Yes, okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's clear. Vote. Vote, vote, vote. Yeah, well, not bad. I think it's. What, 90? 90%. Okay, we have time for one last one. Who really wants to go? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we already have like knowledge by independent sources. I would propose that we also need lobbyism, so knowledge by interest groups.
We need lobbyism.
We need knowledge by groups.
You mean experts?
We need
Yeah,
experts.
like in a democracy, you need conflict, you need discussion.
Okay, you
That
need
you need
conflict and
groups that are
discussion.
passionate about their topics.
So expert groups?
Business is a very negative word for that, but you need
What?
groups that are very passionate about their causes.
Is it expert groups? What else
Yeah,
is
we
it?
can say
Yeah, so we need expert groups to like defend what we stand for. So
And you mean defend to the leaders or the representatives or to the people?
To the people who have the power.
yeah.
People who make the decisions, wherever that is.
Yeah,
So to
people
the
who-
leaders, to the representatives.
Okay, so expert groups informing, defending to the people in power. Last vote. Everyone needs to vote. Otherwise it doesn't count. Okay, okay. No,
Like 65%.
65%. Good.
Very nice.
Oh, good.
Is there somebody who was like, I
really
my
have
hand up,
one.
but I did, somebody who didn't say anything?
Sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go, go.
I was gonna say inclusive interactions, as in
Inclusive interactions.
yeah, or inclusivity, or trying to include or make sure that all voices are heard, and not to say that that would be individuals, but like people or groups with all different kinds of backgrounds, values, and
So that minorities also have a vote, that it's not just the majority
exactly. Yeah, and
wins.
Just to clarify, so all voices must be heard, and is this something that you would put into law, or is it a value? Because you can't put it in, there are countries that have it in, right? They have it in
Yes.
their law that when you have the majority, you have to take the minority into account with every decision that you make.
In all the laws you make.
Is that something that you would want?
yeah, but maybe even beyond law, but also in practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So more as a value, as a society, we need to take care of.
All the voices.
Yeah.
Okay, good, perfect.
Vote.
Votes, last vote. Ladies and gentlemen. Please.
Yes.
Vote. Oh.
Green. That's like 95%. 90%.
Yes,
And a red one.
90%, okay.
90%.
Dear people, boys and girls and everyone in between, here you see what we think is important in our democracy. And if Aukje pushes her magic button, then this happens. Ta-da! And you can see what is most important to us tonight and what is least important to us tonight.
Yes, and what I notice immediately is that you are an educated group of individuals here. You immediately come, I think it was the first one, that was, where is it? Random selection of representation. It's immediately sort of an alternative to the system we have now. So that's nice that it's really, it looks like you are already quite busy with the alternatives to what we have already. If we compare that with other ones.
Yes, it's always fun to pick a rival city. So we pick Amsterdam for now. So here you see what Amsterdam thought about democracy. They used a lot of words, let's say, to put their thoughts into this screen. So care for the vulnerable people. So as you can see, Amsterdam kind of had little differences between what they think was bigger or smaller, let's say. And always fun also is to pick the rival country. So let's pick Belgium, because we've been there as well. Let's see what they thought about democracy. Well, as you can see, in Belgium, they think more about the personal side of democracy and less about technical details.
Yeah, and I want to take one out.
Outside the...
It's on top. Yeah, outside the borders. Because this really was really striking to me. This was an elderly woman, and time was up, just like today. And she stood up and she said, "Wait, I have one more." And I said, "Okay, well, go ahead, because you never say no to an elderly woman, right?" And then she said, "Outside the borders." And I was like, "What is that? What do you mean?" And then she explained that her question was, do we have democratic countries or do we have democratic people? Right? So what is important? Do we all just go by the rules of our democratic values here in our country? For example, let's bring out our friend, the oil company Shell. Right? Here he is again. So when they operate here in the Netherlands, they probably are doing everything by the book, right? Human rights, environmental rights, everything, blah, blah, blah. But if they go onto the other end of the world, who knows what they're doing there, right? So this goes for businesses, but also for people. Do we want
politicians,
everyone? So the question is democracy inside of us, or is it something that we create within borders, right? So I thought that was very interesting. I don't know if she is still alive, by the way. She was really old. But I thought I'd mention it so she could live on in our hearts and minds.
Okay, let's go back to the
Yes.
type of democracy that you want here tonight. And if you look at this list, then let me ask you the next question. Do you think that the current democracy comes close enough to the democracy that you have in mind? So do you think the current democracy comes close enough to your ideal democracy? Indeed, we are going to use cards again to vote. I love this.
Everyone's like,
So pick up your cards again and use red, green, or blue to make a vote. So do you think the current democracy comes close enough to your ideal democracy?
Close enough.
So it's okay.
okay, that's
You
interesting.
cannot just show 3 cards.
That doesn't work.
Then it's blue.
You can pick. Okay, good. Nice. What are we going to do next, Niels?
I guess everybody with red and blue up, please stand up. Yes, with the
And keep
you
standing.
also.
Yeah.
Yes.
So blue or red? Yes. Welcome, everybody. You've been involuntarily selected to take part in a thought experiment. Congratulations. And this thought experiment is called
Arrow shooting
Yes.
or shooting arrows.
Shooting arrows.
Shooting arrows. Just
Yes.
a little jingle.
It's our own
Yes.
personal jingle to the thought experiment. So this experiment is as old as the Athens and Spartans, okay? They used to do it with real arrows. We were not allowed to do that today. I don't know why, but we will be using our words tonight. That's almost as good. So what we're going to do is this. The people that are sitting down right now, you are the Athens. And the Athens, they are holding on to this old, crappy system called democracy, right? Pretty stupid. And we, the ones standing up here, we are the Spartans. And we finally get a chance to tell them what is wrong with their system. Yes. Okay, so in a moment, you all get a chance, one by one, to say, where's my line?
Democracy does not work.
Thank you. Democracy is not working because ... And then you fill in what is it for you. And the good thing is, you don't even really have to agree with yourself in this experiment. No, yeah, you're like, what? The most important thing is that they understand what's wrong about their system, right? So be bold. Is that everything that I'm... Yeah, so that's it.
Yep, that's it.
Are you ready, Spartans? Get into your role, people. Come on. And Athens, you cannot talk back. Did I tell you that? Silent. Listen,
Yes.
you know. Remember that. Listen. Okay, good. I'll go first. Yeah? Get into the role. Democracy is not working because I vote every 4 years, right? And then I leave, and then politicians will do whatever the fuck they want anyway. That's why it's not working. Okay, good. Next.
Next.
Who wants to go? Everyone gets a turn. Yes. So you say democracy is not working because?
Democracy is not working because it takes too long.
Because it takes too long.
Tell them. Do you have
Okay, next.
It takes too long.
I'm still
Slow.
going to repeat. Next, yes.
Democracy doesn't work because the world is divided into countries and not all the people have a say in. So there should be a world democracy.
There should be a world democracy. We have too many little parts. Yeah, it's not working. Okay, good. Next.
Next.
To follow, democracy does not work because you're only empowered if you are with the people in power / you have power. So it's very ambiguous, but I would say very shortly. For instance, I have 2 passports. So with one, you can do much more than with the other. So what does that mean? Like, why? You know?
You have-
Why are people more empowered if they have a legal status within a country?
Right.
Why can they vote or not vote?
So
Good.
you say-
Very strong.
You say you have power when you're with the people or the country that is empowered. Actually, you have 2 passports,
Well,
and
it's
it's
also
very different.
that and also money.
So it's power and money that dictates how many power and how loud your voice is actually, right? That's wrong. That's really wrong about the system. I'm helping you. Come on, get them the other.
Next.
Yes, ma'am.
Democracy doesn't work because a lot of issues are too complicated to be well informed about.
It's
So-
too complicated to inform yourself about. Or
Yeah, I'm not a good sport, but
no, that's good.
No, that's good.
nuance and like populism is not helping.
Yeah, so we have complex problems and we're looking for simple solutions, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Of
Great.
course.
Next.
It doesn't work. Yes,
Yes.
sir, please.
Our democracy does not work because we're focused on short-term goals, and you're focused on getting elected rather than getting problems solved.
Short-term goals and getting elected. It's all show. It's all show.
Next,
Okay,
in the
come
back.
on.
Didn't hear the people in the back yet.
You can do it.
Democracy does not work because a lot of people don't know what it is.
A lot of people don't know what it is, and that's why
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah, we don't
Very
even know
good.
what the
Too
system
Very good.
abstract.
Next.
People are voting and as you said, young people, they don't know about it, they don't care about it.
Exactly.
Young
if you don't
people
know
don't know
it,
about
Not
it,
involved.
don't care about
True.
it.
I think democracy is not working because when people, when politicians try to do something, they're just blocked because of group of interest and just so they want to do something, but they do not have the means to do it.
Yeah.
When politicians want to do something, they are blocked by various, they don't have the means to actually change something. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Next.
Okay, good. Sir.
Doesn't work because it's human error.
It's human error.
Yes, because like if we have to go to the elections, we have a lot of fake news, and all of that things came to a byproduct of the human error that we always make a wrong decision.
Yeah.
At the end, the politician also make a wrong decision as well.
Yeah.
We have a lot of
exactly.
fake news, so we get misinformed before the election.
Humans are
So
just
what
not
are we actually
suited
voting for?
For the system, right? We're not suited for the system. That's what it is.
Next,
Okay.
yeah, in the back.
Democracy doesn't work because you give people very little responsibility. You let them vote once for 4 years, and that's all they can do to participate. It also means they don't have to do anything for 4 years. That means that you can shove it up and blame other people for problems that you could help solve.
Exactly.
Democracy
Exactly.
does not
Yes.
work because we don't give people real responsibility. Just in these 4 years you can vote, but that's it. In these 4 years they cannot really do anything of substance, if I correctly.
Yes.
Quote
we
you.
become lazy. Who hasn't had a
Now we
turn?
have a lot of people in the back, people in the front.
You, sir.
Yeah, in addition to the lady in the back, a lot of people don't know because there are a lot of people who can vote. It's just that the information and all it doesn't reach the people. Like there are some places in the Netherlands where they have these big boards like to announce there are elections, but they're empty.
Yeah.
So that's where it's
We
Yeah.
don't even give people the right information, right? Or no information at all.
open voting booths.
We don't open voting booths.
Not everywhere.
No, exactly.
Always
Hmm.
as accessible as
We're not,
So
the
it's
system
not
is
everywhere.
not accessible, so we cannot participate. You, young lady.
Democracy doesn't work because you can know what most of the people want if not everyone is voting.
Yeah, exactly. So because just a part of all the people is voting, we don't even see what people really think, right? So it's just failure.
We still have 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Come on, let them
Next.
hear it. Sir.
Sometimes democracy doesn't work because it's complicated to find a good consensus for different people, and when people want to act to do something, there will be always people against and complaining about it, and sometimes make obstruction to it.
It's hard to reach consensus because people construct it or
Block it,
block it.
right? Okay, you, sir?
Democracy does not work because it was fundamentally poorly built. Throughout this entire time, we see it was built by normally white, back in times the strongest, and normally males. More recently, it's all about normally rich white males with education. How
Yes.
can we support a system that does not represent every one of us, but a subpopulation? We don't
Yes.
have the privilege is already embedded in the system, and everyone that doesn't fit there has to fight 3 times and 4 times harder to get to the same.
Exactly. So our
Right.
foundations of the systems are actually wrong to
Non-inclusive.
begin with and non-inclusive and built based on the wrong privileges, right?
Yes.
Good.
I think democracy does not work because some people have opinions, but then they're not so sure of their own opinion, and they just criticize because it's easier, and they don't get all the information to actually think about some things. That makes sense.
Yeah, so people are more easy to be against something, to criticize something, because they're not informed enough to really have their own opinion.
Maybe
about
also because of
things.
bubbles, you mean? Or
But also just having an opinion and just staying in your
Yeah, exactly.
yes, being very yeah.
Okay.
Quick last Spartan.
Yes,
Yes.
that's good.
Democracy doesn't work because there's too little ownership of the responsibility from my community. It's in addition to what he says.
There's not enough ownership
Yeah,
of your own community. What do you mean?
feel responsible for how our society.
Ah, okay.
No, exactly. We don't
Right.
feel responsible. Yeah, that's what it is.
We don't feel enough responsibility for our whole society. We just think of our own.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Spartans. You can sit down. Yes.
Yes, give them
Okay.
a warm applause, Athens. Come on, be a big
Now,
sport.
Athens, you have been sitting there very silently. Very good. Yes, very good. I'm very proud of you. But now I'm also very interested in your reaction. Who wants to react to these Spartans with their arrows shot, thrown? No.
Yeah.
Who wants to react?
Defend.
Yes.
democracy works. You just showed it.
Democracy works because you just showed that it worked.
Everyone had a voice.
We have the freedom to talk about it, so it works.
Okay.
Okay.
Who else?
Anyone else? Yes.
Democracy works because it gives you the freedom to participate, not the obligation to participate in the system. And
Nice. You have the freedom. Sorry.
we've got freedom. And I heard some people saying that people don't participate, but that's exactly the idea of democracy, that you don't have to participate, but if you want to participate, you've got the freedom. And besides that, it is fundamentally about equality. But the problem is that there's too much influence of money if you want to improve the system, take away that sort of influence. But the fundamental of democracy is correct. It works quite well, actually.
Okay.
Okay. So you were
Democracy-
saying the
yeah.
freedom that we have the freedom to participate, but we also have the freedom to say no, fuck the system. I'm not gonna participate.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
Or you're
have to-
happy with the outcome, so you don't have to participate. And you say the core values of democracy still works, but we do have problems like money,
Money.
and.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
very
Perfect.
good. Thank you.
Who else? You.
Any other Athens?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to dissect of all this group. I was just told, I think the question was originally like the system I live in. The system I live in is in the Netherlands. We don't vote every 4 years, we vote
elections, their municipal elections, their provincial elections,
Local
Yeah.
elections, yeah.
whatever the name.
Much more
So there are a lot of
than-
elections, not just every 4 years.
National election, and then it's already tough to get everybody motivated for the national elections, let alone for the waterschapsverkiezingen. You know, whereas it's one of the things that is actually very essential to us to keep us safe from the water. So it's interesting to see that. That's the first remark I want to make. Secondly, I think it's very tough also to let 17 million people decide, like for all different kinds of subjects. It's indeed because you're not informed. It's indeed because people don't participate. So that's why we chose to have a system of representation in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And with the system of representation, automatically you get to a point where not everyone's opinion is taken into account because of the fact that you can't elect 70 million people again. You have to elect for the Dutch system 250.
So the system of representation is there because it's too hard to have 17 million people and 17 million opinions all taken into account. So that's why we have it.
You have to split 17 million opinions over 250 people, so if immediately a couple
You-
of opinions will drop off.
You lose some opinions because of the system. Well, I think, Niels, I don't know about you or Aukje, but I think that it's become very clear that there are a lot of things in the basics of the system that are actually working, but we have to look for that next step, right?
Yes.
To make it work even better. To make sure that we don't have the problem of the money anymore, or that we do take into account more of the voices
Yeah,
that we
more
hear.
inclusive.
Exactly. So I think it's time to look to the future and start building on a new system, right? Democracy, innovation, and that's where Aukje comes in. And I go.
So, the question is, if there is one thing that we could change about our current democracy, what would it be? So the one thing that we could change now that will evolve democracy. And because that's a pretty hard question to think about, I have a list of all the performances so far. And that list shows the things that have been mentioned before. So, here's the list. We were a bit too quick on the clock, I think. So here you see what has been mentioned before. And the things that are bigger have been mentioned more times. The things that are smaller had little votes.
Yeah.
And it's important for you now to look at this list and see if you think something should be bigger or smaller, or maybe even you think something should be added to this list. So something's missing. And we give you 2 minutes to discuss this in pairs again. So discuss this with someone around you. And we will be back with you in these... Actually,
we've got a wrong clock.
3...
We've got a wrong clock.
We
No,
will be
we've-
back with you in 2 minutes.
One.
We will.
One, come on, people. We've been talking so much. One is enough. Come on. Look at the list. Think about it. What do you agree about? What should be bigger, smaller? More dialogue in neighborhood community, more care for climate, basic income from everyone, art, philosophy, meditation as mandatory subjects in school, long-term politics, learning about democracy in school, economic growth, not leaving more use of power, citizen knowledge, better informed voting, better representation of society, less influence of companies and politics, vote for well-being instead of welfare.
Right?
Zullen we?
Ja.
We houden geen tijd over. Yes. Okay.
All
get
right.
ready. Yes. Okay. Very good. You can just continue talking, but then to me. So, what do you think should be bigger, smaller, or is there something that is really missing on this list?
And important, if you disagree, then you are allowed to boo,
It's
right?
true. Yeah. If someone states something and you're like, no, then please shout boo. Right? It's a common thing. Just shout boo, and if the boo is loud enough, then we'll take a vote.
Right.
And the ones that will decide if it's loud enough or not is us.
But
Yes,
Corona-proof
it's not a
booing, of
democracy.
Yeah.
Corona-proof booing.
Like
It's
put your
important.
hands. Okay. So first up.
There anymore now.
Yes.
Come on.
Talking about 2 points, the better informed voting and the better representation of society, and we think it's connected because if people are better informed, they are more likely to vote for people that
So do you think we should put it together? Okay. Can you do that? Think about it.
Of
just
course.
think about it. No one's booing just yet, so you're safe. We'll just steam things up. I'll give you some time. I'll give you some time. All right, sir.
Just a remark, instead of booing, can we show the red card just because Corona? And we don't have to scream, is it better to just put the red card?
Really? We'll just see what happens, okay? All right, you, sir.
I think three of them should like kind of be mixed. Long-term politics, more careful climate, and economic growth not leading. Because actually we're just acting in the world, well, natural when there are
Long-term politics and climate, care for climate and economic growth.
Okay, I'm gonna change the rules a bit because now we have happened it twice. You can just choose one you want to have bigger, or one you want to have smaller, or you can make a new one. Because they are all three on it, we can also make all of them.
A little bit bigger if they're
bit bigger.
important.
the one most important is economic growth not leading. Because
Great.
Okay.
Economic growth not leading bigger. Anyone else?
Good. Yes.
Yes. More
Own-
ownership over our politics. A new one.
By the people? Okay. The people need more ownership of our politics. It's good. You don't have to defend yourself. It's a good, it's perfect remark. Yeah. Yeah. Good for you, sir. But you're just you. So, that's not enough.
Instead of the booing saying the here.
Yes, next time. Okay.
Yes,
so
but
when we
nothing
come
will
back
happen.
in 2 years.
Next.
Who is next? What needs to be bigger or smaller? What needs to disappear from the list, sir?
It's not in order, right? So
No.
it's only bigger text. I want
Yeah.
more dialogue in neighborhood communities, bigger.
Good.
We thought the dialogue on social media shows that everybody wants to say something.
Exactly.
It's just that there's no real forum for them to
More real dialogue.
Make it bigger
I
out.
did.
yeah.
I did.
Perfect. Next. Yes? Empathy?
Nice, nice.
Yeah?
To teach
Teach.
empathy.
That's a new
School?
one, right?
In schools? Yeah? Yeah, to
Let's
kids?
start with kids.
Let's
Yes.
start with kids.
Next.
It's always good to start with kids. That's something else. Sir,
Better informed voting.
Better
Better
informed
informed.
voting. Bigger.
bigger, bigger. Yes, sir. Long-term politics need to be smaller.
I feel that the longer someone is in power, the more power he will gain, and then you're too powerful.
I think it's meant more like there should be more long-term ideas than longer mandates to politicians.
So it's thinking about the bigger picture is actually what it means. So do you want that smaller?
That
Or
that
we make
if
a
you
new
make it's about the idea that politics are now a lot focused on short term. We have 4 years. We're gonna do everything in these 4 years, but that the idea should be like, okay, in 25 years we need to have this happen. What can we do to do it? And not that politicians should stay there in power for 25
No.
yees, but that the ideas or the thoughts
decisions?
should be more long term and not so much the mandate.
Yes, exactly. Yeah? Okay, then it's okay. Then it's okay. You want it bigger? It's okay. It's
No, it's
good
good.
as it is. Okay. Who else? Yes, sir. Smaller?
Okay.
Okay, smaller. Boo!
Bigger?
Oh.
Boo?
Boo,
Boo?
boo,
I
boo,
think.
boo. It's-
Let's vote. Yes, let's vote on should long-term politics be smaller. So if you do green, it needs to be smaller. If you do red, it needs to stay the same. And if you do blue,
Okay, well, we
I
have one.
think we're gonna keep it as it is.
2 greens.
Yes.
All right, good people. Okay, last one. So if you really have one. Sorry? What? Long-term politics? Okay, long-term politics needs to be bigger. You don't need to vote. We're gonna do it.
Oh,
Aukje.
all right.
Yeah, of
No
course.
booze.
I don't hear booze, ma'am.
Well, I was inspired by the lady next to me.
Yeah.
Who said that we should somehow oblige politicians to go into the neighborhoods where the people vote less and go and speak to people a lot more. So if we want a good democracy, we should somehow make it obligated for politicians to go.
Obligation for the politicians to have dialogue with the citizens.
For a better representation of society,
So they have to go
Okay.
out and talk to people.
they get some money for being politicians.
Some.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
they
we add
do
that
get
to
paid.
the lists. Last couple of ones. Lady. What?
Learning about democracy in school should be smaller.
Ooh,
Yeah, but
we've got some cows here, but
it's COVID. They don't want to scream.
Yeah.
that's true.
I think we should vote.
Okay, we take a vote. Who agrees with making learning about democracy in school smaller?
So red if you want to keep it.
1, 2, 3, green ones. No, it's not
No,
gonna
sorry,
have one.
better
Sorry,
keep it the
last
same.
one.
Last
Yes,
one.
sir.
I think we need to not just focus on well-being, but really focus on mental well-being, health-being, mental well-being.
We-
Something needs to change in our democracies because the more complex we get as societies, the more complex our problems are, and more into mental problems. So if we're basing a system where people are mentally healthy, you're not going to have like a healthy democracy.
Okay, so we need healthy, mentally healthy people for
More
a
focus
healthy
on mental
democracy.
health. Or
Yes.
what did you say? It was not health, mental well-being. I think
Yeah,
that's
we need to
it.
focus on mental well-being for a healthy democracy.
Okay, I think
Yeah, it's good, right?
yes.
Yes.
Nice, very.
It's a lot of input.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So now that we have clear what we should be working on, of course, the big question is how. And it's a difficult question to answer, right? But luckily for you, we've been doing research for a while now, and we've brought with us today a big bag, right, full of ideas and inspiration to inform you and inspire you about what we can do to innovate our democracy.
Yes, and we took our inspiration from Participedia. That is a website that was founded by 20 universities worldwide. Now there are actually 40 universities worldwide connected to this platform. And what they actually do is they map every initiative that is busy with how can we update or upgrade our democracy. And as you can see on the map, it's already quite full and they're all over the world. There are more than 2,500 initiatives on it now, and it's really growing by day. Yes, but
Yeah.
we thought maybe it's a bit much to
It might
Tell
be a
them
bit
all.
much to do all 2,500 ideas tonight, because then we will be here for a week. So we thought, let's see, when we dive into the database, can we look for like trends or themes? And we found out that we actually could wrap everything up and put them in 6 categories of action, democratic action. And we would really like to present these 6 categories to you all, to inspire you. And we will give 2 examples or initiatives for every category. And then for the ones that are doing the quick math and are still awake to do that, yes, that's 12 examples. You might be wondering why 2 per category, why not 1? Well, if I give you 1, it might seem that this is the truth, the answer. And there is no answer. There's no one answer, there's no truth. If I give you more than 2, well, we will not be able to handle that at all. So it's 2. So hold on to your seats. Get straight, get ready, because we're going to do it, right? Aukje is going to start with the first category.
All
Go.
right, the first category is politics should be a better reflection of society. because everyone should feel represented by their political bodies. But unfortunately, that still isn't really the case. Women, for instance, and groups that are called minorities still do not feel fully represented. And one way to change that is the initiative Vote for a Woman. And that is a very simple initiative to rethink the way we vote. Because if we go to vote, most people with good intentions, good feminist intentions, vote for the highest woman on the list. But she usually makes it anyway. So the strategy is vote for a woman lower on the list. Before you go to vote, you check the polls. If, for instance, your party in the polls has 5 seats, you go to vote and you check the party list and you see what woman is just below those 5 seats. For instance, if there's a woman on number 7 and we give her all our preference votes, she will be able to climb up and fill one of those 5 seats. And this is a way for us, a strategy to make our parliaments more diverse. And I think it's important to say that you don't have to do this with women. You can also push another group that you would like to be more and better represented in our political bodies. Okay, second example is, and this has been mentioned, I think by you, selection by lot. And selection by lot means that next to chosen professional politics, we also select citizens. And this is something that worldwide, there are several experiments right now. It's hot. And for instance, in Belgium, they did an experiment on the east side of Belgium, the German-speaking part. In their parliament, they have selected by lot 24 citizens next to 25 politicians. And together, they have ruled for 1.5 years. And the outcomes were very positive. Also because of the fact that both gained mutual respect. Because politicians, they gained respect because citizens found out that it's actually pretty hard to do politics and it's hard to make compromises. And on the other hand, politics saw that citizens came with great ideas coming straight from society. So it was a win-win. Well, and in France, there's an even bigger experiment going on right now because Macron had to listen to all the sounds from society, so the Yellow Vests movement, for instance. And he created a board out of the 150 selected by lot citizens that together look into the biggest challenges that France has to face right now. For instance, climate change. And this board of 150 selected by lot citizens already gave out some advices. Some have been implemented by the parliament. And Macron is now that enthusiastic about it that he wants to make this into a permanent political body.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Perfect. That was the first one. So I'm up next. My category is democracy happens between people, right? So now the power lies with a few institutes. But that system actually ignores all the wisdom and all the ability of ordinary people to be part of decision making or give solutions to problems. So 2 initiatives that try to change this a little bit. The first one is about dialogue circles. It's actually a quite simple method, but also brilliant. It originated in Sweden. And what it does is it brings different people together to solve a shared problem. That's actually what it does. For example, in a little town in Sweden, they had a problem with childcare. People were unhappy with how the system was at that moment. So what they did is they hired a neutral mediator who brought together a group of very different people, different ages, different cultural backgrounds, but all of them had something to do with the problem that needed to be solved. And what they did, first of all, they took time. And that's important. They took time to make sure that people started to get to know each other. So the first couple of sessions is just about getting to know each other, talking to each other, understanding what someone's background is, what someone's ideas is. And then after that, they start to try to solve the problem. And what you get out of that is that there's no one-size-fits-all solution to complex problems. No, what you have, for example, in this town, is subsystems of childcare where everyone is happy about. So, and you might be thinking right now, yeah, well, I can imagine that they can do it with a group of 20 people in a small town in Sweden, but you cannot upskill that system. Well, let me tell you, in Sweden, more than half of the population is now part of one or more of these dialogue circles. So yes, you can upskill this. It's very interesting. Okay, yes. My next example is nuance through visualization. Difficult word, but it is interesting. What it does, it brings our possibilities of using new technology to bring more nuance into the debates. Now, we ask people, are you for or against, right? Yes or no, black or white. That's actually what we ask people to vote about. But we, as people, are usually much more nuanced than that, much more complex. And if you can bring that nuance into the debate, then you move beyond the black and white thinking, right? So, for example, this example is from Taiwan, where for years and years and years, there was a big debate about whether or not the government should allow online selling of alcohol, right? So you had 50% pro and 50% against, and they were stuck for a couple of years, right? And then all of a sudden, a couple of students thought, you know what we'll do? We'll just ask people online to tell us why they are for it or against it, right? So the why question. And then they gathered all these answers, and they visualized them online. And what you could see was, of course, a lot of different worries, a lot of different questions about the topic. For example, you had a couple of parents that were afraid that their children would be able to purchase alcohol way too easily. Or you had this guy that had a small liquor store, and he was afraid he would go bankrupt. So you see, by bringing all these questions and fears together, they could make policy that had broader support than ever before. So beyond the black and white thinking and more nuance in the debate. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Next category is we should be able to make more involved choices. The system is now so that you vote for a party or a person in a party. But how often do you actually agree 100% with this party? That's quite rare. And a new system that tries to eliminate that is theme voting. And the name already says it. You don't vote for one party, but you vote per theme. So you don't get one ballot, but you get 10. For every theme, you get a different ballot. So, for example, for mobility, you can choose one party, and for education, a completely different party. In this way, you are not stuck with just one political party or even one political color. You can really choose for ideas. And what is nice is that us as voters, we are challenged to look more like, okay, what does my party actually think of this theme? And what does that party think of that theme? And also, the political parties are forced to be more transparent in what what are their concrete ideas for the different themes. It's quite an elaborate system, and it's not implemented anywhere yet, but there are a lot of places where they are quite close. So it is coming. Another example for involved voting is liquid democracy, and I can, I think, best explain it with an example. For instance, you're in the train, you get on your phone a message. Bling! In 2 weeks, there will be a voting in your neighborhood about whether or not there should be a new parking lot. For instance, should there be a new parking lot? Do you want to participate in this vote? Yes or no? Do you choose no? I don't care if there's a parking lot or not. I don't have a car. I don't have children who play there. I don't care. I choose no, I don't want to participate in this voting. Then you can choose a representative who will represent your vote in the voting. Do you choose yes? Then you get some background information, and 2 weeks later you can, via your phone, or go to a voting booth, and you can cast your vote on whether or not the parking lot should be there. what is nice about this is that liquid democracy really tries to build a bridge between direct democracy, you yourself vote, and representative democracy. So you choose somebody who you trust and who you think will make a better judgment because he knows more or whatever. So that's liquid democracy. It's already used a lot in businesses to make decisions. And now for the first time in Sweden, they are also experimenting with it on a local base. So it's also on its way.
Perfect. So we're halfway. Do we do a little shuffle? Yeah.
Of course we do a shuffle.
Is everyone still awake? Where am I shuffling towards? Here? Okay, good.
Okay, next category is fundamentals should keep up with the times. Actually, they should keep up with the times, because if we want an equal society, then we have to start at the basis. And one example is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That hasn't been changed in 70 years. So on the one hand, that's great, because these are fixed values and nobody can touch them. On the other hand, it's a bit weird because the time didn't stand still and our world has changed a lot. So for instance, there's nothing in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights about gay rights or gender fluidity or let's say the privacy right. Because 70 years ago, we didn't have internet, so nobody knew that it would become such a hot topic. So this Universal Declaration of Human Rights needs to get an update for the 21st century. And a legal philosopher at the University of Amsterdam, Irena Rosenthal, has been working on this with her team. Out of 1,000 citizen ideas, she selected, or actually wrote, 20 new rights that should be added to the original list. And among these rights are, for instance, the right to have a non-violent relationship, but also the privacy right that they have called the right to be forgotten, which we think is very poetic. Well, she handed this list over to the Dutch parliament, and because this is quite tough to change, she also asked certain members of the parliament to adopt a right. So some of the rights were adopted, for instance, the privacy right, the right to be forgotten, and that has been put on the agenda every time again by this one parliament member, and now it has been implemented in Holland already. So that is pretty great news for this category. And my second example is rewriting the Constitution. And that sounds drastic, and it is drastic, but it happened by citizens in Ireland and Iceland. And let's take Iceland as the example, because after the financial crisis in 2008, the population of Iceland was like, what the is going on? If now the poor have to suffer and the rich are being protected, then something is fundamentally wrong. So they decided to rewrite the Constitution. Where to start? Well, they started with a group of 1,000 selected by lot citizens. They looked into the basic framework and the basic values that needed to be in there. Then they handed that over to a committee of 25 selected, like chosen citizens. They worked on it for 4 months, and this I love about this process. Every weekend, they have put a new version online so that the population could still react, so they kept the dialogue alive. And after 4 months, they wrote the new constitution, and they held a referendum. And 2/3 of the population of Iceland voted, hell yeah! So that was a big win. Then they handed it over to the parliament, and then the leaders of Iceland said, no, we're not gonna accept this. So that was pretty shitty, and now there's a new parliament, and there's a bit of hope that maybe they will do something with it. And if you think this is interesting, then you can check out Emma Le Suis's documentary that Niels has been talking about 1 hour ago or so. It's on our website for free about this process in Iceland.
Yes.
Yes, and then the next category, democracy from childhood. The more you understand democracy, the more you want to be involved, the more engaged you are. And to do that in a nice way, and also for children, they have made actually democratic games. We also bought one and played it. It's this
Yeah.
one. You are on an imaginary island, and you get all sort of dilemmas thrown at you. Are you going to share your fish with the new people on the beach? How long are you going to take care of your sick? Who will be the leader? Do you need a leader? And most importantly, how will you get out of this together? It's a very nice game. Also for not kids, we actually enjoyed it a lot. Don't drink too much, then it becomes about winning, and
Yeah, but I
there's
did-
no winner.
Well, I did win, but it doesn't
She
matter.
did not
Yeah,
win.
I
She did
you
not
lost.
win. No. Another another example of democracy from childhood on is, of course, in schools. And I'm actually going to give a little extra example because it was also mentioned now. In Denmark, since like 2 or 3 years now, they have mandatory the lesson empathy in school. So at least 1 hour a week. Yes, you said it. At least 1 hour a week, they get the lesson empathy. They learn how to express their ideas and their emotions, and especially they learn how to really listen to each other and take care of each other. And because they implemented this, also the violence in the schools, and especially in the schoolyards, really dropped drastically. But so my real example is democracy in schools, of course, is a lot with student bodies. And I don't know if do you have a student body here? Does it?
Sort of.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Does it
yes.
have some power? Can you make real?
Moi.
Yes.
Yes. Ah, okay.
Okay.
So you have a couple of rights: right to complain, which is an awesome right.
I want that right.
So, but that is a very easy way actually to get democracy in your school. And you also see throughout the whole world that there are initiatives that really help this. Also in Ecuador, they have the Watchdog Club project. And that's not for universities, but for high schools. And what they do is they give a small group of people, of children, they get the say in how the water and the hygiene and the food works. And if they see something that's not right, that it's unhygienic or something, they can ring the bell and the school has to do something about it. And they are also involved in, okay, but then what to do next? They are really challenged to look at their direct environment, not to just think, I'm a kid, the adults will handle it. No, they really have some power. And I think that's, for me, the most important thing of this category is that democracy, you should not just be taught in schools in papers, but you should learn democracy by doing it.
Yes, yes. And then the last but not least, it's my favorite, my personal favorite, and it's my category is there's more than just people. I mean, let's look at the last year we've had. We are not the center of the world, and we are not invulnerable, right? So my first example, my first initiative I'd like to share is about the voice of nature. It's been said today, we need the voice of non-humans heard within our parliaments, right? And an initiative that works on that is the Parliament of Things. You might have heard about it. If not, please Google it because it's crazy interesting. And the Parliament of Things has a lot of different projects, but one of them is the Embassy of the North Sea. And this embassy actually exists in The Hague, and it's an embassy that makes sure that the voice of everything that lives in the North Sea that is not human, so plants, fishes, algae, is heard in, for example, meetings, congresses, and if necessary, in court. So it's very important, and it's good that they're doing that. My next example, and last, is about eco-mapping. And eco-mapping is a project which gives citizens power to check their own environment, the quality of their environment. And they can do that for noise, smell, pollution, the water, they can check everything. And one of the projects that they did was Curious Gnosis. It was in Belgium. Curieuze Neuzen. Very beautiful. And this was a project where 20,000 Flemish people checked the air pollution in their street for a couple of weeks, and the results were shown on the map, real life. And you don't see the map of Belgium behind me. Very clever. Yes, we are still awake. No, this is the map of India, because in India they did the same thing, but then with 2 million people, and that's quite impressive. And what it does is that it gives citizens actual facts and arguments to make sure that they have the power to get things done from their governments, from businesses, and their fellow citizens. And I think that that's the most important thing. We're done, right?
Great.
Yes.
Yes, we're done. We've made it. 12
Very good.
examples, 6 categories. I would like to invite you to really look carefully at these 6 categories. So the examples, some are already really implemented, some are really experimental. So they are just really examples. For me now, it's really about the categories. Really look at them. And my question is, which one of these categories, which one, would you like to commit yourself the most to? Which one do you want to stand for? So look at them. You can only choose one. You can only stand for one time, one thing.
Yeah, let's start with one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So after
So-
we leave, you can choose whatever you want. But now we're going to choose.
So
one.
who wants to commit to better reflection? So politics should be a better reflection of society.
Please stand if you...
Yes, stand
Yes.
up. Thank you, Niels. Okay, I'm gonna ask you why.
The example you gave about women,
Okay.
I think as we see all over the world, whenever we look at politics, so I really pay attention to politics and stuff like that, you don't see that many women. But it's like half of our population. Why is that not happening?
Yeah.
Okay, so you chose this category because you said this Vote for a Women initiative inspired me. It's a nice strategy to make our parliaments more diverse ourselves. Nice. So you are gonna vote differently now?
I mean, I'm still gonna vote for the same party. I've been voting my whole life.
Oh, of course, but you can now do a preference vote, right? So that's the thing. So okay, so you vote for a party, you go to vote, you check on a list. You okay, okay.
Let's do it again. Good.
Well, that's great.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. I think next category.
Yeah, and just to make sure that everyone that we don't see but is at home, please stand up. Right? Okay, just stand up for yourself because it feels good. It's important. Okay, so who wants the next category? Wants to stand up for democracy happens between people. Democracy happens between people. Very good. Welcome. You, sir, why did you stand up?
Because I believe if there's enough dialogue and discussion, a lot of things can be achieved. And then even other goals are encompassed to some extent to discussion between people and collaboration.
Okay, so more discussion between people, more collaboration between people will do us good, right? Okay, and you, sir?
Well, I really believe in the two. I think they actually can support each other.
Yeah,
I think it's very, very important that we keep the nuance in every discussion and to include as much people as possible.
yeah, so include as much people as possible, get nuance in the debates. It's important. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And who wants to stand for more involved choices?
Yes.
You, why did you stand up for this one?
I like the example of democracy because that's something that I feel I've been missing out when I live in the Netherlands. Right now I do, but like I feel like this is something that I've been missing out because like I live in this area that I would like to vote. Like, do I want to have like a party out there or not?
So you really like the liquid democracy, mostly on a local, for the area where you live, that you have more control in what actually happens to my neighborhood, that you have a say in what happens. Nice,
Great.
great. And you?
I stand up because of the first one, because why do we have to choose between different topics and
So you really like the theme voting because then you can really give your vote to different ideas and not just one whole. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Please.
Thank you.
And who wants to commit to fundamentals of our time? So our fundamentals should keep up with the times.
Of course.
Nice. You, I want to hear why.
I think it's really important to move with the time because, as you guys said, if you get stuck in the past, there is no continuity into what we're going to do. So there are a lot of people who are not represented in these rights, whether I like that or not. It's important to like not only just like think in the past, but also like think in the now, and maybe also in the future.
Yeah.
Yes. So for the people at home, not to think too much in the past, but in the now and maybe even in the future. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you?
I don't think it's important to have kind of guidelines, and I think they're always changing. We see the world different than it was, I don't know, even 20 years ago, and we need to have some kind of values that all connect us, and that we can put our decisions behind.
Yeah, we need guidelines and values that are now in the present, I think you mean. And do you think that you could personally do something about this? Because this is such a huge topic. Do you think you can personally do something?
I think it's very difficult. I think you can set the values for yourself and then live by these and then try, to inspire or like engage other people in this as well.
Right, but that's already a good start. So she said that you can put values for yourselves and live these values and then kind of spread them around you, and then hopefully you can make a change. Nice.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And who would like to commit to democracy from childhood?
It all starts with the kids.
Why did you stand up? Why did you?
Yeah, as you said, I think that starting early, that is pretty much one of the fundamentals and preconditions for all the other things to work.
Ah,
So it's engaging children and not just, as you said, talking about it, but also showing them what it actually means to have an influence, and also what it means if I don't have a say. I think
Yeah.
that's very important for all the other things to work.
so it starts with the children, then you can have all these other bubbles also.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And why did you stand up?
I think it's not only important that children know how democracy works, but they can also practice democracy to really make it a part of themselves. And besides that, I'm a teacher in social sciences, so I think it would be really weird if I didn't.
Good for
Yes,
you. So
you
you're
can
already
make a
doing
change.
it.
So it's good that
Yes.
children really practice it, and you are a teacher, so it would have been
Yeah.
super weird if you didn't stand now. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. And then the last one is there's more than people. We're not the center of the world. Who wants to stand up for there's more than people? Okay, very good. Welcome, gentlemen. Why are you standing, sir?
Well, I think nature is very important, and I love nature, love being in nature. So the sea, the trees.
Nature is important,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful, and it's good to be in. So it should be part of politics as well.
Nature should be heard.
Yeah. So it's naturally that the voice of nature is heard in our democracy. Okay, clear. And you, sir?
What's with the voice of nature? Even if we think about this, like how can we heard like voice of fish or something like this? But just that I think that things are not going fast enough. I think it would be important to put some principles to respect nature and not just continuing being in the world and construct economy and everything, thinking that there is no natural boundaries, and just have really good representative with people who represent the nature. And just for a little, because it goes better reflection section by lots. I think you talk about Macron experience,
Yeah.
which kind of related to nature. Actually,
It's true.
it's a good idea to do section by lots, but what can be seen is that actually those measures that have been thought about the people selected are actually not really respected, And even if it was a good initiative, a good democratic initiative, at the end, those measures are not really taken into account.
Okay, you are from France, and
it's
so
good.
you know. So this is interesting for us. I mean, we can change our performance at all times. So you say it's very nice what you say, but actually there was little respect for this citizen board.
Yeah, those citizens are like, so okay, why have we been chosen?
A kind of like a marketing stunt or so.
Yeah,
So did-
because he has to think about re-election, and I will talk about that.
Yeah, so
Structurally, and that those measures are not really taken into account.
so the initiative in itself is nice and it's good, but it doesn't work because the measurements that they propose are not really taken, so it doesn't really work. Okay, and what you said before is that the voice of nature is important because we are not working fast enough with everything that's going on, climate change. I think that that's what you mean, and that we cannot go on acting like this, like we are the center of the world. Okay, so good.
Great.
Thank you. That's interesting.
So-
Thank you so much.
Did anyone? You may sit down. So did anyone not pick a category? Did anyone not stand up? You can maybe show hands.
Who did not stand up for a category? Everyone?
Okay, so everyone committed themselves to a category.
All right.
That's good.
Okay, then I have just one last question before we are wrapping everything up. Is there anyone here tonight that does not feel seen or heard? So is there anyone here tonight?
People
that
at home
does
maybe, but that's
not
a
feel
technical
seen
thing.
or heard? But here in our live audience? Sure?
So,
Yes.
well, I have the feeling that there are some people that feel maybe slightly unheard or unseen, but to now stand up and actually say that out loud and stuff is maybe a bit too much. So, just so you know, I stand here on behalf of you.
Thank you.
But now that I think about it, it's of course now here tonight a lot of voices are not heard. I mean, there are students that are not here. Maybe they didn't know that this was happening. But also maybe you are a student of the university and you cannot go for free, and it's too expensive.
Right.
Or you didn't, or you thought it was all in Dutch. Or you're in home quarantine,
Yeah.
you have corona, you're very sick, you might even be dead. I know this is way too big. Or unborn. No, but
Yeah.
seriously, I mean, it's way too I know it's way too philosophical, I'm being dramatic. But it is true that all these voices are unheard, but they might have something to say. So I think it's good to realize.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And it's just one, and then of course we're going. There's just one more thing that every time you ask this question, I personally think about someone I've met in The Hague. She is a brilliant woman. Her name is Aisha. She's a doctor, and she led a hospital in Ghana. And she came here as a refugee. She had to, and now she didn't get a permit here, so she's illegal. And for the Netherlands, she doesn't exist. But she does exist, and I know her, and she has a voice, she has stories, she has something to tell. And, well, I just wanted to take the stage now tonight to give my voice to Aisha.
Well, good, that's beautiful. And I
Thanks.
think it's also relevant because I think it's that everyone here probably has someone or something that you know does not have a voice or is not heard, and that you would like to be a voice too, right? And don't get me wrong, whether you do that, be a voice for someone, or you don't do that, that's totally up to you, of course. The only thing that I think is good to know is that doing or not doing is both a form of doing. And actually, our society and our world is made up by everything that we do and don't do. So it's both of them. It's both a form of doing. And that means, in the end, it is up to us, right?
Yep.
Okay, people, I think we're going to wrap up. I would really like to thank you. We've been talking about democracy and also doing a bit of democracy with voting and with shooting arrows. So really, thank you. And I think it's very nice that everybody actually stood up for something. That's always very nice. So give yourself a round of applause and very good night. Thank you.
Thank you all.
We do the music. Yes! This is your cue.
So corona proof out, there's probably, yeah.